After a devastating day for football, following a tragic passing, it's been a dark few days for Arsenal Football Club. But with the season soon approaching, Andrea Berta remains on the market for new signings. So today we'll get a massive update on Arsenal's centre-forward developments. We'll also find out what's happening with Eberechi Eze, discuss the breaking news regarding Takehiro Tomiyasu, as well as analysing Mikel Arteta's brand new recruitment. Yo, what is going on guys? My name is Baz14, welcome back to Boys Channel and I hope you guys are keeping well. After a devastating day for football, I would like to say rest in peace to Diogo Jota. My friends, today we have a lot to break down, so as per, smash a like on the video if you do enjoy it and subscribe to the channel if you are new. But starting off with the shocking news. A day after the entire football world was left shocked, the tragic passing of Liverpool forward Diogo Jota, we've now got to address the reports regarding former Arsenal player Partey. After his contract expired on July the 1st, officially no longer an Arsenal player, today we got the shocking news from Fabrizio Romano, confirming that Partey has been charged by the Metropolitan Police Service with alleged offences that took place between 2021 and 22. Partey is now set to appear in court, and as an Arsenal fan it's a very weird time to support the club, a club that we all love, always trying to paint them in a positive picture. In the case of Partey, of course, there's always been legal concerns, and it does make you wonder, with reports confirming initially Arsenal did have a verbal agreement over a new contract. Was the sudden change in mindset because they knew these reports were going to come out? In the case of Partey, while not confirmed to be guilty, he has been charged, and questions will be asked of every single person at Arsenal Football Club, not just the owners and the board, but also Mikel Arteta and the Arsenal players. And even as a football fan, it's not been easy in the last 48 hours. The news confirming the tragic passing of Diogo Jota, 28 years of age after a tragic car crash, just 2 weeks after he was married to his long-term girlfriend. I wanted to post a video yesterday, but I just couldn't speak because I was really shocked. It was really mind-numbing. To then get the Partey reports today, we are here to talk about Arsenal transfers and all the rumours, but right now things aren't that easy. But in terms of Arsenal themselves, despite initial reports of an announcement from Martin Zubimendi later this week, following the tragic passing of Diogo Jota, according to Team News and Ticks, Arsenal are not planning to announce Zubimendi today due to the events yesterday. Zubimendi, of course, alongside Kepa Arrizabalaga, both players that Arsenal have signed. Kepa, of course, official, and Zubimendi soon as well. According to the reliable Charles Watt, both Zubimendi and Kepa Arrizabalaga will be a part of Arsenal's pre-season training that is set to start in the next few days, with a third signing also around the corner. According to Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal and Brentford have also exchanged all paperwork for the Christian Norgard deal. In terms of the Arsenal players, a return is around the corner, with our first game of pre-season being on July the 23rd, all the way in Hong Kong against AC Milan. According to Charles Watt, Arsenal will play 2 home friendlies a week before the season starts. The Gunners are expected to face Atletico Bilbao on the weekend and Villarreal midweek, with the announcement video of the Arsenal away kit for 2025-26 also being leaked. A brand new season is around the corner. So let's talk about the future of Gabriel Martinelli. Just over 6 years after he signed for Arsenal, just 18 years of age, for £6 million, we have got some breaking reports regarding a potential departure, with Saudi side Al Nassr reportedly interested. According to Ben Jacobs, Al Nassr are willing to offer a fee of around €85 million for Gabriel Martinelli, but also don't really want to sell the player. Sources have confirmed Arsenal could be persuaded. €85 million, that translates to roughly £73 million. Not only would Arsenal make a sizable profit, but in the case of Martinelli, a player that has been Arsenal's starting left winger, an area that Arsenal are on the market for, it makes you wonder if a bid does come in. I think there's a good chance that Arsenal could accept, especially when it comes to Ben Jacobs, of course a friend of the channel. When it comes to Saudi Arabian clubs, he's been pretty spot on. So not only do I believe their interest is true, but I think there's also a very good chance Al Nassr are going to make an offer. That despite the number 1 target being Luis Diaz, a player as confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, Liverpool have rejected the approach from FC Bayern for Luis Diaz after a call was made by the director. Liverpool insist on the intention to keep Diaz, with no plan to negotiate, and Bayern have been informed, with Liverpool holding a firm stance on the future of Diaz. That was also a report that came out before the tragic news regarding Diogo Jota. But also in terms of Arsenal, when it comes to a player sale, with reports claiming that Arsenal could spend up to £200+ million. According to David Ornstein on the recent episode of the Athletic podcast, he has indicated that signing a top left winger could depend on an outgoing in that position, with even Tammy Mockwell confirming BBC Sports understands Arsenal will look to sell one of their more established first-team players inside the next 12 months. Gabriel Martinelli has been extensively linked with a move away this summer, and it's understood that isn't something the club are ruling out. There are also understood to be several clubs in Germany keeping an eye on the Kai Havertz situation heading into next summer, when he will only have 2 years left on his contract. The Havertz deal I'm not quite sure about, but in the case of Martinelli I think there's a very good chance an offer is around the corner. Then if also Arsenal and the board, if the plan is to go and sign a marquee left winger, reportedly spending up to 70 to 80 million pounds. The departure of a high-profile player would certainly give them the funds to make that happen. So what's happening with Arsenal and their own forward signings? One reported target was Bournemouth's Antoine Semenyo, but after signing a new contract at Bournemouth, now until 2030, not only is that a deal out of the equation, but you've also got a development regarding long-term target Nico Williams, a player that Arsenal had somewhat let go of after reports claimed he was about to move to Barcelona. Today that you had more shocking news confirming Nico Williams has signed a new 10-year contract at Athletic Bilbao, keeping him at the club until 2035. The new deal reportedly includes a 50% increase on his release clause, which had been set at 58 million euros. If the issue before was the contract and the wages, now it's certainly going to be impossible. So you've also got a reported target coming out of Liga, as according to L'Equipe, Arsenal are considering Magnus Aucliouche from AS Monaco, a French winger 23 years of age, after back-to-back years of being a starter for Monaco. Last year scoring 7 goals and getting 12 assists in all competitions, as shown by his positions played, mainly a right winger playing on the right-hand side. His main position was right winger. But that's where you have to ask yourself the question. Reports have confirmed that Arsenal are looking to sign 3 forwards in this window, but with one definitely being a striker and the other being a potential attacking midfielder, is the winger going to be a left one or a right one? Because after all the recent reports that have come out, the Arsenal are seriously looking for a Bukayo Saka backup, a younger player that isn't as established, may be willing to sit on the bench. But you also have the reports regarding Noni Madueke. According to Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal have had a new round of talks on Madueke, as the player could be open to the move. Nothing advanced yet in terms of club-to-club approach, or direct negotiations, but Arsenal remain in contact in what is going to be a separate deal from Eberechi Eze. Again, another player that has made it very clear he prefers to play on the right-hand side because that is his profile. Reports have claimed that Chelsea are looking for 40 to 50 million pounds. That's why I'm looking at Arsenal and their fund allocation. We all know that the main wide forward area to address is of course going to be the left-hand side. So even though I can understand wanting a Bukayo Saka backup, having seen Ethan Nwaneri play there last season, despite not being on Saka's consistent level, this is a player that will grow next season and become even better. But according to the Gunner blog, contract talks between Arsenal and Ethan Nwaneri are at a delicate stage. The player wants to stay but no agreement yet. With strong interest in the Premier League and Europe, there is no way that Arsenal can be letting go of such a high-profile talent. Your boy is still fairly optimistic. Nwaneri will sign a brand new Arsenal contract. But it also makes me wonder, the fact that Arsenal are being linked to mainly right forwards, is that because they want to prioritise Nwaneri next season? But what about the brand new left winger? Well, according to reports in Spain, Real Madrid and Xabi Alonso are now open to letting Rodrigo leave this summer. They have agreed that the club will not stand in the player's way if a suitable offer is made. Arsenal have held preliminary talks with Rodrigo's camp, but this is a saga that I believe will only be sorted come the end of Real Madrid's FIFA Club World Cup in a game against Borussia Dortmund. Once that tournament is over and the player gets his holiday, only then do I believe we're going to get some sort of developments. Then you've got the breaking news regarding Arsenal's defenders, and trust me, this is kind of shocking. In the case of a brand new one, reported target Christian Mosquera. According to reports in Spain, Mosquera has decided to not accept Valencia's offer because he wants Arsenal. He hopes that Valencia and Arsenal can agree on a fee, with even Fabrizio Romano confirming time and time again, Mosquera is giving total priority to Arsenal. This is not going to be an expensive deal, but it's always been a bit of a weird one. In my eyes, going into the window, if Arsenal were going to sign a defender, it was always going to be more of a left back. So to go for a right centre back to play behind William Saliba, it was making me wonder where we're going to see another surprise departure. So after more reports in Spain confirmed, Mosquera has informed Valencia of his no to the renewal offer. Valencia have rejected a second offer from Arsenal that slightly exceeds 10 million euros. They have not come close to 14 to 15 yet. Los Che insist on him renewing, or at least 20 million euros. It all starts to make sense after the breaking news regarding Takehiro Tomiyasu. After an hand of Arsenal exclusive that came out of nowhere, confirming that Arsenal have been in discussions with the camp of Tomiyasu to mutually part ways pending an agreement. Clubs from Saudi Arabia have made contact with the players agency. We then got official Arsenal confirmation, saying thank you Tommy. We have reached a mutual agreement with Takehiro Tomiyasu to end his contract with immediate effect, which allows Tomiyasu to leave on a free transfer, with the Arsenal statement confirming, unfortunately injuries have limited Tommy's time on the pitch in the past 2 seasons. It was therefore mutually agreed to end Tommy's contract in order for him to start a new chapter in his career. This was a player that back in only 2024 signed a brand new Arsenal contract, making only 1 appearance off the bench last season, that being all the way back in October, playing 60 minutes against Southampton. In a game that he just came back from an injury, he picked up yet another one. In what was the case of Takehiro Tomiyasu's Arsenal career, he was meant to be a Swiss Army knife profile, playing as a right back and also playing as a left back, while also providing also centre back cover I never had an issue with the profile or the player's quality, but it was always a question of availability. After 4 years at Arsenal making 84 appearances, despite playing 30 games in 2023-24, last year was a bit too much and it definitely cost Arsenal, with Gabriel and Saliba playing nearly every game they were fit together. For Tomiyasu, I will say best of luck. When he played for Arsenal, he was definitely effective. But there's a reason why Arsenal were after Christian Mosquera, trying to find a player that cannot play as a backup, but also be more reliable. And in terms of the reported Arsenal targets, despite being 21 years of age, in his entire career so far, thankfully he's never had any injuries. But moving on to Arsenal's striker development, the main area for Arsenal to address in summer 2025. After all the reports regarding Benjamin Sesko and Viktor Gyokeres, fans are rightly getting annoyed, because with the Arsenal players set to return for pre-season, our first game being less than 20 days away, we are still yet to see any official agreement. But according to Team Losing Ticks, I was told that Arsenal once again spoke to Ollie Watkins and said hold fire on any deal. He would be the third choice. But with the first two looking difficult, it is not a third choice that is miles away. Watkins is an Arsenal fan and would love to play for them. The player that Arsenal made multiple offers for back in January 2025. Despite reports after confirming, he was more a player that Villa actually offered. There is no denying that Watkins is nowhere near Sesko or Gyokeres in terms of effective ability, but he definitely would be an upgrade in terms of our natural number 9s, with Havertz being more of a hybrid, and Jesus rarely available. Watkins would not be a signing that excites a lot of people, but in terms of the basic fundamentals, he is a very sound player. Definitely not seen as a ceiling racer, but it makes you wonder if Arsenal were to spend less on a striker, but get a Rodrigo and a Eze. It's a move that could make sense, but at the same time isn't quite acceptable after years of underinvesting in the forwards. This is not a time for Arsenal to cheap out. The reports themselves do not surprise me, and there's a reason behind that. The clear strategy of Andrea Berta. During his time at Atletico Madrid, it became trademark Andrea Berta to negotiate for multiple players at the same time, to always give his club options, which can be very exciting when it comes to links, but at the same time for fans who are trying to see the strategy, it can also be a bit confusing. But in terms of Arsenal behind the scenes, according now to the Gunner blog, Arsenal's head of recruitment James Ellis is set to be promoted to the role of the technical director. Arsenal were in talks with Matteo Tognuzzi, formerly of Juventus, over the role, but that is now not expected to result in an appointment. A man that will now work alongside Andrea Berta. You've even got the appointment of a brand new Arsenal coach. After the departure of key member Carlos Cuesta, becoming the first team manager at Parma, a David Ornstein exclusive has confirmed Gabriel Heinze is joining Arsenal as a part of the coaching staff. The former Argentina international defender is being added to the group after Carlos Cuesta became Parma head coach. A report that was also confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, saying Gabriel Heinze has now accepted to be a part of Mikel Arteta's staff. With the Argentinian coach being replaced with Carlos Cuesta, Heinze will sign very soon, as Mikel Arteta already tried to bring him to Arsenal. And let's just say Arsenal are getting a bit of the character. A player that had a very successful career, playing for Paris Saint-Germain alongside Arteta, but also Man United and Real Madrid, alongside over 70 caps for Argentina. He of course was mainly a defender, but after managing 5 different teams already, 4 of course being in Argentina, with his last job being at Newell's Old Boys, back in November 2023. If you've seen the clips of him on the touchlines, he's very vocal and he's very animated. And according to Liverpool player Alexis McAllister, Heinze is one of the best coaches I've had. He has many similarities with Roberto De Zerbi. For me, he was a very important coach. I learned a lot. It was one of the most important stages in my career, to understand football better. I learned a lot about tactics. For as much as Arsenal fans we won't know, this is not a player that you can go watch clips about. A reference like that of course is very important, but ultimately it's clear to see the character that Arsenal are getting. When you've got the coolness of Albert Stuyvenberg, you'll now have another former first team manager, who will clearly not be scared to question Mikel Arteta, which for many fans is exactly what Mikel Arteta needs. But the question then becomes, what striker is Heinze going to be working with? Well, in the case of Benjamin Sesko, here was his agent Elvis Basanovic being invited to Arsenal's final home game of last season against Newcastle. According to Sammy Mogbell, sources have indicated there is still no agreement between Benjamin Sesko and Arsenal, let alone the two clubs, with suggestions of striking a deal with the player has proved significantly harder than expected. Sesko's agent is understood to have developed a strong relationship with former sporting directors Edu and Jason Ito, but with Andrea Berta now leading negotiations, those nurture relationships are no longer relevant. There have been some indications in recent days that Arsenal have focused their attention on other targets. The stance for Arsenal has been very clear. The max they want to pay for Sesko is 70 million euros, while Leipzig insist on their 80. And for many fans will look at that and they'll say if the price tag difference isn't that big, why don't Arsenal spend the extra money? But as more reports confirm, Arsenal will not pay more than 70 million euros for Benjamin Sesko. Arsenal waiting to see if Leipzig change their stance as Sesko is Mikel Arteta's preferred target, because he feels Sesko completes the team. Even according to Team Losing Ticks, Arsenal are struggling to agree with the RB Leipzig. They're really trying hard to get a deal done, but I won't be surprised if they walked away if Leipzig continue to be difficult. There is no denying this is the main player that Arsenal are going for, but at the same time with the season soon approaching, at one point enough is going to be enough. For as much as Sesko elevates Arsenal in the long term, there is clear potential there and is a player that I definitely do like. But there's a reason why Arsenal are skeptical over the overall price tag. Because at only 22 years of age, he is still seen as a prospect. So with the Sesko deal getting harder and harder, you've then got Viktor Gyokeres as the opposite, doing everything possible to get a deal to the Emirates Stadium. Already confirmed by Fabrizio Romano to have given Arsenal full priority. And now according to more reports, he has dumped his girlfriend because he wants nothing tying him to Lisbon. With Samuel Mockbell confirming, Arsenal have made progress on a potential deal for Viktor Gyokeres in recent days. There is of course a lot of drama in Lisbon. Despite initially having a gentleman's agreement, Sporting have not lived up to that and are being very hard in negotiations of a price tag. But according to ESPN, it is now clear that the Arsenal hierarchy and Arteta have chosen Gyokeres. Berta has travelled to the Portuguese capital a few times, and negotiations are going well with his agent and Sporting. There is a lot of optimism from the Gunners that a deal can be done soon. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If the Sesko deal is getting longed out, is it time to move on to Viktor Gyokeres? Now let's talk about the future of Eberechi Eze, a target that has come out of nowhere and excited many Arsenal fans. According to Team News and Ticks, Eze is a part of a 3-attacker plan by Arsenal this summer, and the club are in the driving seat to sign him at the moment. Arsenal prepared to sign Rodrigo Eze and a striker, but are waiting for Rodrigo to say he wants to leave Real Madrid. In the case of Eze, as confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, after a direct contract review on a Monday, Eze has opened the door to the Arsenal move in a clear way. He is open to joining the Arsenal project, and is attracted by his chance for his future. Arsenal are informed on release clause details and more, with Fabrizio also confirming Arsenal are in talks with both Crystal Palace and Eze. It seems like Arsenal are making their move for a player in the peak of his powers at 27 years of age. Despite having a realistic £68 million release clause, reports have claimed that Arsenal are still going to negotiate because they believe they can get the player for around £60 million instead. And according to more reports, Arsenal have advanced on the signing of Eberechi Eze in recent hours, and talks are well advanced with the player and his representatives. All that is missing is a decision on whether Arsenal will activate his release clause or not. For a player that had an XG of 10 last season, more than any player in the Arsenal squad, with 8 goals and 8 assists, only behind Havertz and Saka, he also won a whopping 157 ground duels, more than anyone in the Arsenal squad, while also winning possession 146 times, beaten only by Rice and Saliba. The stats are impressive, the deal makes sense, and ultimately he's a player that would be an Arsene Wenger type signing, with the raw quality to dribble past players and make something out of nothing. A profile that your boy's been calling for a very long time. I love the fact that Arsenal have finally identified the target, knowing that that's a profile they lack. You've also got the recent report from Ben Jacobs, delivered exclusively on your boy's channel, saying that Arsenal really like Xavi Simons. It was a complicated deal that saw him go to Leipzig. The total outlay was €80 million, and the guaranteed fee was 50. If he leaves now, much of the add-ons won't be paid. I would keep a small eye. Eze or Simons, both profiles for me elevate Arsenal massively, and with the fact that we're now into July, it's very important that in the next few weeks, Arsenal get a deal done as soon as possible. Pre-season is only weeks away, so whether it's Eze, Simons, whoever, I want that player to get as much time as possible. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. But that was all of your latest Arsenal transfer news today. After what's been a difficult few days for football fans and Arsenal fans, I would once again like to say rest in peace to Diego Jota. Tragic news, it's been heartbreaking and a bit difficult as well. But I'll see you guys next time, or hopefully a lighter note. Until then, take care of yourselves and in a bit.